Hello everyone. In this drawing we're going to explore how to draw animals using basic shapes as a guide, and our model for the day is this study of a whippet by an artist called Augustus John. This is part of the Sadler collection at the Cooper Gallery. It sits alongside other studies of animals. There's one by an artist called John McCallan Swan, who did a study of a tiger, and David Michael Jones, who did a study of a jaguar. So in the first demo, I'm going to show you the basic shapes technique and how to build that up. And then we're going to use that again to draw an elephant, which is obviously slightly more exotic than the whippet. So all I'm using is my trusty B pencil, and I have a 2B pencil as well. It's a little bit darker, so good for the softer areas around the edges and for doing a little bit of shading. And I'll explain a little bit more about the shading technique that I use as well. And I've got my usual old mucky rubber as well. So let's get stuck in. Okay then, so we're all set up for the drawing. So the first thing I want to do is create a kind of scaffolding. That's the way to think about this basic shapes idea. So a scaffolding of basic shapes that we can build, and then from that we can develop the more finer details, things like that as we go along. So it's just a case of looking at what you're drawing and deciding, right, well, what if I was to break that down into one shape, what would I do? So the head of the dog, to me, kind of looks like a squarey triangle. Now, if you're a maths teacher, you'll be horrified by that, but that's what it kind of looks. It's got a nice big pointy nose, something like that, yeah? And the important thing to remember with this is, I'm making this up as I go along. I'm just looking at it and thinking, right, well, what shape is that? So I look at the neck, I think, well, that's a bit like a rectangle, but it's... So, and remember as well with this, I'm pressing on quite hard, just so you can see what I'm doing. But when you do yours, at this stage, keep it nice and light, and then, because there is a lot to rub out with this as you go along. And it's just a case of looking and making a decision as to, right, what's the nearest shape that I can get? So, bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a broken cylinder kind of shape. I don't know the names of these shapes, just that I'm not worrying about the details at this stage. I just want to get the feel. So like that, so you've got that long curve at the back that I've just done, and then into the thigh of the back leg. Again, just break it up into, so already you've got a kind of sense of the sort of top, or the main body of the dog. This dog's a boy, there's no avoiding that. So, and again for the legs, just breaking it up into them shapes and not worrying about the details. So I'm going to be quiet now. I'll speed this up a little bit just so that we can show you the next stage. Right then, so there we go. That's the basic shape, well, the dog made up of very simple sort of shapes. So now we can start to develop this a little bit more with some of the details. So first thing you're going to want to do is, with your rubber, just rub out the sections where, obviously in the body, there's no lines cutting through the body itself. So I'm just going to get rid of them. So again, I will speed that up. So now we can sort of start to add some character. So the shape of the head, for example, I can now sort of enjoy the drawing part, you know, and actually look at the shape of the nose, lightly sketching the mouth a little bit. And again, you know, I'm working on Augustus John's sketch that probably took him very little time, really. So even for the eyes, you know, just a simple little circle like that does the job. Got a nice big ear, actually. That's something I missed off before, but that's fine. I wouldn't have known where to put it had I not done these these preliminary shapes. Right, so there's the dog pretty much sketched in, and again I've pressed on quite hard, so I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of these lines, but I'll do my best. Now, in a previous video, I talked about hatching and cross hatching. I just wanted to go a little bit more detail about what that is. So basically, when you're shading in, you have a lot of people will shade quite gently and then probably use the finger and blend it and smudge it. I struggle with that technique, so I find it makes the overall finish a little bit too uniform and flat. I like to use a technique called hatching and cross hatching, which is basically, this is hatching. So hatching is when you basically shade in one direction like that, and your cross hatching crosses over what you've already done. And you can gradually build it up in layers and it gets darker and darker, and obviously you can press on as well. So in an area like under, so this back leg that's on the inside, bit of hatching that way, just going to push it back a little bit on the front leg as well, just to show that that's going behind the other leg. There's not much cross hatching other than probably in this area here that's a little bit darker. Cross hatch that along. But for the most part with this dog, it's just a little bit of hatching here and there. Try it as a technique. You might like it, you might not. I prefer it because I feel it makes the drawing a little bit, the surface of the drawing a little bit more exciting. So as far as this pooch is concerned, that's about it. So now we'll move on to how to draw an elephant. Okay then, I've taken the liberty of pre-drawing this a little bit just for speed's sake, but again it's the same principle. So with the elephant, nice chunky chap, so I literally just started off with a circle. I thought, let's do the belly of the beast, and then really nice big chunky legs and feet. You know, the feet are great because they're almost the same sort of shape as the legs. So again, I can go in with my mucky rubber and just start to get rid of some of these guidelines. And again, now I can just sort of go around. The main body of the elephant is there, but I can start to refine the shapes a little bit. Add some of the curves. Obviously the legs go into one. Okay, so to finish him off, just a little bit of shading here and there. Again, you've got this back leg which is in shadow, so you want to try and describe that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one there. I could go on forever with all the shading. But what we've done is we've done two very different animals using exactly the same technique. Have a go. If you've got pets at home, perfect. That's probably the best way to do it. But think of any kind of animal, and this technique should work. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.